All right. Hey, everyone. It's Monday. Let's get started, shall we? Welcome to the stream if you're new. In this stream, as you know, I'm going to look for day trades in the NASDAQ futures using the Trade Scanner Pro. These streams serve as a training program for free for people that use the Trade Scanner Pro. So you have a much better idea of how to use it because the tool itself is not very intuitive, in my opinion. And it's really developed for more advanced traders because there are some concepts you just need to understand in order to use this. So my goal here is to demonstrate how I use this and what we're doing. Hey, Samuel, how are you? Hey, guys, thanks for joining me. What I'm doing is I'm using the Trade Scanner Pro on a Apex evaluation account, and we trade the micro NASDAQ futures. The goal, the profit objective is $3,000. If I can reach $3,000 using the Trade Scanner Pro, then I get a paid account. And then whatever money I make on the stream, I can withdraw the money, right? That's a great thing. There's a lot of great benefits to using a prop firm. I'm not going to get into all that here. But anyway, that's the idea. All right. Now, I'm not an affiliate for any prop firms or anything like that. I'd like to be one, but they don't want affiliate. No one wants affiliates right now, and they especially don't want me for some reason because all the ones that I contact, they're like not interested. So, all right, what am I going to do? So anyway, so that's the goal here, right? And here's the other thing you need to understand about these streams. I only trade this account 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I don't trade this account outside of this stream. So all the trades that you see on this stream, all the trades that are in this account are on, have been streamed in front of people. Okay. So look, you could see this is the account right here, right? You can look at the numbers and you can compare the numbers from previous streams, and you can see my P&L. Now, over the previous week, I had Monday was a positive day, Wednesday was a losing day, and then Friday was a positive day. Made some money back. Now, this account was minus $800 and something a couple of weeks ago, so I had to come back from that as well. All right, so that's where I'm at. Hey, good to see you. Okay, Sam says the shift in the market will happen at 10 a.m. Eastern. What shift are you referring to, Sam? Can you be a little more specific about that? Now, I have not checked the economic calendar, so I don't know what this looks like yet, but usually Monday does not have any particular economic news, usually scheduled news. By the way, I haven't changed my charts yet. This is the Bitcoin chart that I put up on TradingView, my analysis yesterday. And by the way, I will be streaming again at 3 p.m. today, where we're going to talk more about the analysis. So far, I'm right about the pullback, right? And I put the wave count in here. See this little wave count? Pull them back. This is why you don't buy wave fives. You don't buy tops of things. See that? Pull them back. All these clowns buying this. Hey, just getting started. It's getting started to pull back. Okay. Is there like a name for that, Sam? Is that like just the 10 o'clock reversal? All right, so we're going to switch over to the NASDAQ futures. I got to change my charts to I got to add my trade buttons to these charts and stuff like that. I'm still not like at full where I should be. I just just haven't had the time. I've been working on a lot of stuff over here. Okay, so let me take these moving averages off. We're not going to use those. Notice real quick when I pop this up, right? I have the hourly on this time frame. Notice there's a trade there. There's a long trade that just pretty much went off, right? See that? Let me ask you guys, for those of you that have been paying attention, should I just jump into a trade like that? Yes or no? What do you think? And by the way, let me see how bad my numbers look. Oh, man. Even Twitter's starting to suck now. People, if you're watching me on Twitter, by the way, do me a favor. Can you please retweet the stream? I was looking at the retweets. No one retweets the stream. Even I asked people, please retweet the stream. I got like no retweets. Can you please help me out? Because like these streams, I'm going to be honest with you, these streams are not a very good use of my time. So, I'm trying this out for a little while to see if I could build something. And, I have to coincide with other things, meaning I got to get some uploads going and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, like, if I don't get any traction from this, there's really very little incentive for me to continue to do this. Even though I show plenty of profitable streams here, doesn't matter, obviously. Okay, Andrea. All right. No, no to what? I'm sorry. I just asked a question. Yeah. Can't even keep up my own questions. You're correct, Andrea. She's been following me for a while. No, you don't just jump into this. It looks kind of compelling. Got a higher low, failed low, bunch of things going on there. But I haven't done my analysis yet. So I cannot randomly jump into signals, even though that signal looks pretty good. Okay. I not just give it some time, Sam. I haven't done my analysis. I have no idea what's going on right now. I just pulled these charts up. Remember, the Trade Scanner Pro is a confirmation tool, not the other way around. And I think when beginners get into this thing, they see the signal, and that's good enough for them. Oh, yeah, that's good. This is random. I don't know if this is good. I have no idea. I have to do my analysis first. So the right answer is no, ignore the signal. Ignore the signal until you've done your analysis. That's the first step, okay? So let's make this chart over here. As you know, I like to start with the daily time frame, and just the only thing I'm really getting from the daily time frame, I'm not looking back at all this price action, okay? I'm not looking back at all this on the daily time frame because I don't need that for day trades. Remember, I'm going into this with one particular style in mind, and I know this going into it. I'm looking for day trades. That means I'm planning to work from a 30-second or a 1-minute chart. That's it. I know this in advance. I know this before I place any trades. You must have the same thing in mind when you're using the Trade Scanner Pro. Know the time frames that you're planning to trade way before you even pull up a chart. You have to have this figured out in advance. If you're working from a 5-minute, or if you want to do a swing trade from a 30-minute, you have to know that in advance. That's the primary thing. Now, also, when you get the Trade Scanner Pro, let me turn it on this chart. You have to make sure that you turn on these features. Okay, hold on. Let me switch this to the 1 hour real quick. Right, this is where the signal is. See that? You want to make sure you turn on trailing stop, show previous trades, and heads up. When you first get the Trade Scanner Pro, those are turned off. So you have to make sure you turn them on. Okay? I think I just turned them off again. Oh yeah, I turned them off. Okay, turn them on. And then we're going to go to the daily time frame. Now, I like to start with the daily time frame because I'm only looking for previous day's levels and today's levels, or the overnight high and low. That's all I want because I'm planning to use those levels for my day trades. That is all I need from this. Remember, the first component is the analytical component. We're going to do analysis on charts. We're going to get a couple of pieces of information. We're going to build a trade idea from the context that we get from that information. Then we're going to use the Trade Scanner Pro to confirm that trade idea. It has to be in that order. If you're doing it any other way, you're playing a random game and you're wasting your time. I'm just letting you know. I have to say this because I see people canceling these things, and it's like, man, I know it's my fault for not coming out with clearer instructions and this and that. I get it. It's a hard thing to teach, but this is why I do these streams. I understand people can't be at these streams at this time, but that's why you can watch them at your convenience. No one, my numbers after I stream, my numbers don't increase after I stream. No one watches these things. Okay. So, again, every day I have to look in the mirror and ask myself, why do I do this? So here's what I want. Okay. From this time frame, I want that. That's Friday's candle. Is it not? I don't care about the candles before that. I want the previous candle. And then I want today's candle. So I have that. See, these are today's levels. See that? And those are going to coincide with the overnight high and low. Does that make sense? So what that gives me, before I even do trend, right? I haven't even done trend yet. It gives me some general idea of support and resistance levels. Some general idea. Make sense? That's all I need from this. You're going through growing pains. Yeah, Sam, growing pains for 3 years. I know, I have to be fair. I haven't been streaming 3 days a week for 3 years. And you also have to consider relatively what I'm competing with. I can't compete with what I'm competing with. I'm actually, I strongly believe a marketing consultant would tell me my strategy is completely off and I should be catering to registered investment advisors, not retail, because I can't lie like the other guys do. I can't come up with all the dreams and nonsense and Ferrari behind me kind of thing. I can't do that. And that's what sells in the retail space. That is how you sell, not what I'm doing. Clearly, not what I'm doing. So, anyway. Again, I'm not trying to be the big star here. I just want my time to be worthwhile. That's all. You know, like a job. If I was imagine going to a job and be like, yeah, we're not going to pay you. Just keep showing up and maybe we'll pay you. You're going to be like, I'm not coming to this stupid job. What are you, nuts? Well, but you have to believe in yourself. Growing pains. Give it time. No, you wouldn't go to the job. You'd go somewhere else that pays you, right? Same thing. So anyway, I just wanted to be worth my time. Okay, so I got this information out of this chart. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. Let's go to the hourly chart. Now, the hourly chart is where really I'm going to get the context for my trade. Okay, now as we see, there's a trade on this chart, but I said, as we just said before, we're going to ignore that. So I'm going to turn it off. I don't want to be confused by that, right? Because it doesn't mean anything until after my analysis has been conducted. So let's get some information here. The information that I'm showing you is the only information you need to make adequate decisions in the markets. You don't need anything else. I emphasize this over and over. Hopefully you get it. All right, so what do we see here? Well, it's pretty simple. I see a higher low. I see a higher low. I see a higher high. I see a higher low. This is not a lower high, not really. It's a little mini lower high, but this low is still higher. Let me point it out here. Than this low, right? See that low right there? That low area? This low area right here is higher. Let me get my little arrow. Where's my arrow? Right? That low, this low is lower, and this low is higher than this low. It's higher. That's all I care about. I don't care about the lower high because this general trend is bullish, because we're coming from a higher high. Does that make sense? I can draw a trend line. I can simply draw a visual trend line and connect the lows. Yeah, okay, that one's broken, but it doesn't matter if the trend line breaks. I can just draw a general trend. Like that's a positive slope, is it not? You don't have to be so precise with it connects to this and connects to that. That doesn't mean anything. The market doesn't see this line that I'm drawing on the chart here. So we have to just basically understand that this thing is not breaking supports. It's not pushing lows. So it's bullish. It's generally bullish. We can arrive at that conclusion. Do you guys agree? If you don't agree, please put it in the chat. I don't pretend to be always right here. You may have an alternate perspective and we can talk about it. But this is how I judge this. I see structure, right? And I see higher lows. If I see higher lows and we're coming off of a higher high, I anticipate what? Supports to generally hold and resistance to generally break. That is my expectation. My expectations have now been shaped. Okay? For my day trade, remember, I'm working on an hourly chart to get that context so I can arrive at an idea of what side I should day trade on. Does that all make sense? Okay, so my idea is I'm going to work on the long side. And we're near a support level here. As you can see, we're fooling around near a support. I anticipate that this little, I guess you can call that triangle. it's a converging trend line, I suspect that minor resistance is going to break, because in generally bullish markets, resistances break. Now, the other thing, don't be confused by, like, for example, um, you may look at like the change for the day, right? And it may be negative. The market, I haven't looked, but the NASDAQ may be minus 50 points or something like that, right? That's not the trend. Don't be confused by that. This is the trend, your general structure. Just because the market's off at the open a little bit doesn't mean anything. Okay? People get confused by that. I used to get confused by that all the time. Now, if you see a massive negative day, like minus 500 points, then yeah, you can argue that there's something bearish going on, right? Most likely some supports have been broken in that type of scenario. But if it's minus 10, 20 points, 30 points, whatever, and the structure's bullish, buying opportunity is what you should be thinking. Remember, not doing, you're thinking. You're just kind of getting an idea. All right. Now, all right. So with all that being, I know I talk too much. All that being said, bullish candle, right, on the hourly. Looks like so our overnight low is this price here. That's pretty much intact. Okay. So I want to work on the long side, right? Let's go to the smaller time frame. So I'm going to switch this over here, the larger time frame. I'm going to switch that to 30 seconds, right? Because I monitor 2 time frames, and I'm going to turn the Trade Scanner Pro back on. Now I know now that I'm looking for longs, okay? Notice you got to pay attention to this, especially on small time frames, especially on sub 1 minute time frames. Trend is bullish, trend is bearish. That's your time frame status. It changes your trend status. It changes a lot on very small time frames. You got to pay very close attention to that, because if it's opposite of what we're looking for, that's when we have to change to counter trend mode, right? But obviously, I'm looking for longs. It says trend is bullish. Great. I'm aligned. I don't have to do anything there. Now, over here, I'm going to change this to my 1 minute time frame. I'm monitoring the 30-second and the 1 minute, because those are the time frames I'm interested in taking trades on. No other time frames. Now, we're working on a matrix overlay where you can input your own custom time frames, like 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, whatever you want, and it'll tell you the status. It'll tell you if there's a signal or if there's a head up on your time frames across multiple instruments. So you can have Bitcoin, you can have NASDAQ, you can have whatever, S&P, whatever you want. And I think you could input up to 10 symbols or something like that. Steen is working on that. Now, it's going to be a while before we see that, because, he can only do a little thing at a time. But I think it's a great idea, because in a situation like that, I wouldn't have to have 2 charts up. All I would have to have is my matrix up, and then I'm monitoring, 5 time frames over 10 instruments, right? That'll be a really cool feature when we get to that. But that's where we're going with that. But right now, I have to put on the 2 time frames so I can monitor them. And now my job is done. I've come up with my trade idea. How long that took me? Like maybe 10 minutes? And that's explaining the trade idea. If there was no explanation required, if I was just doing this on my own, it would take less than 5 minutes, right? It should take you a lot less time, because you don't have to explain it to anyone. You just look for your trend, look for your levels. Your trend gives you your expectations. How should I handle supports? How should I handle resistances? What should I expect? And if my trend is bullish, okay, great. I should be looking for longs. My trend is bearish, I should be looking for shorts. And it's that simple. Now we wait for a signal. The Trade Scanner Pro is a confirmation tool. And now we have to confirm our long. Here's my 1 minute. Look, my trend says bullish. Okay, great, beautiful. That's what I want to see if I'm looking for longs, right? So now I just have to wait for a signal. Now you may say, well, why not jump around and check the 3 minute, check the 5 minute? But that's part of the plan. And the reason why I don't check those time frames, especially for this stream, is because it'll be inconsistent with all the other trades that I took. And if I'm working on a 5 minute chart, for example, it's adequate if you're on your own, but I have to demonstrate this on a stream. So I need a higher frequency of trades. If I put a 5 minute chart on here, I may have to wait 2 hours for a setup. for a confirmation. I'm not going to stream for 2 hours. Okay, I can't. I got way too many things to do. So that's why I have to work within those limitations. But if you're using the tool yourself, you can use a 5-minute chart. You can use a 15-minute chart. In fact, I recommend those charts more than a 30-second or a 1 minute because these are very hard time frames to trade. All right. Also, TradingView gives you the notification feature, right? You click on this notification feature over here, and you can actually set up notification so that you don't have to wait in front of your computer. And if you're working like on a 5-minute or a 15-minute or a 30-minute, you can just wait until you get your notification and you're all set after you've done your analysis. Has anyone done that? I'm just curious for those of you that use a Trade Scanner Pro. Have you used the notification tool like Samuel or Andrea? I know you've been using a Trade Scanner Pro for a little while. Is that part of your technique or no? I'm just curious to know. All right. So anyway, so we're just waiting here. Remember, the Trade Scanner Pro is a pullback. Ooh, whoa, Sam, you were right. The change. Look at that. That wasn't even scheduled. Was that scheduled? Oh, you use it all the time. Cool. Okay, good to know. Look at that little jumpy jump right there. Sam had inside information. Sam, are you friends with Jerome Powell? What's going on? You friends with Nancy Pelosi by any chance? Maybe you're like you're her next door neighbor or something. You have inside information. I may have to call the FBI on you. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't call the FBI on you. I wouldn't do that. I would ask you for some inside information. You'd probably call the FBI on me. All right. So anyway, nice little squeeze there. Sam knew something. As soon as we started the stream, he said 10 a.m. There's going to be something. Sam has a crystal ball or something. How do you know this, Sam? How do you know? Maybe he's friends with Scott Bessent or something. Maybe one of those guys. I don't know. He knows someone. Because I couldn't even tell you that was happening right there. And I'm a chart expert. Okay? No, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is actually a common inflection point. There are these inflection points. Also, 10 a.m. is the establishment of the opening range. 10 a.m. And it's 10 a.m., 10:30, and 2 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 2:30. Like those are like time. There's inflection points. Also, 3:50, 3:50, 10 to 4. That's also a particular time where certain things unfold or certain things take place that can move the market in a dramatic way. Okay. So news driver, but was there a particular piece of news? Because I wasn't aware of it. But 10 a.m. is a typical news item time. And like I said, we could, when 10 a.m. closes like that, right? We could go to the 30-minute chart and we can look at that, man. The 30-minute chart, what we see here now is the opening range. Is that a signal that just popped up? No, that signal's been there for a little while. Again, I'm ignoring the signal, but this opening range can also give you a support and resistance level, a minor support and resistance, right? The opening, this green candle, the open candle, that's actually the 10:30 candle because it starts at 10 o'clock and it closes at 10:30. So this previous candle, excuse me, this previous candle over here, I'll draw a little rectangle around it. Hold on. Sorry about that. That rectangle, that's the opening range. And there's something called opening range breakout, which, as you can see here, the new candle pretty much blew just right above that opening range. That previous opening range high becomes a minor support level. That's a very common day trader perspective. So that's all bullish. You could draw, there's actually tools on TradingView that will actually highlight the opening range. It's the reason why, and I don't put it on the chart because it can be confusing. Excuse me, sorry. I don't like coughing into the microphone. I apologize for that. Um, and the way I like to use it, because again, people think like opening range breakout. Oh, if it breaks above, you buy it, right? Well, not necessarily. I like to use it basically for the support and resistance, right? That's basically how I like to use it because I've tried plenty of times letting it opinionate me where, oh, broke higher, I'll just go long. Like, oh, I'll buy this pullback. And then it just, the entire day, all it does is goes to the range low and breaks lower. Like, so you can't get opinionated by it, but it can, excuse me, serve as a good reference point. I just like to keep my charts clean, right? You guys know I like to less is more. But something to keep in mind. And it's not a bad technique to learn about or perspective. You can call it a perspective. People build strategies around it, and there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube about it. I think it's best used in a loose way, meaning you get a support and resistance out of it. There are some days, like a very strong day, for example, goes above the opening range and stays above the entire day. And the opening range high becomes a support level, and any retest of it becomes a long. Like there are some days that are very clear and very easy to see thanks to the opening range. Okay. So anyway, nice little pullback there. Maybe we'll get a signal out of that. My Trade Scanner Pro is on. I don't need to be in counter trend mode. So I'm all set. Now, I don't have a heads up here or anything. No heads up. And my function is on. It's on. No heads up means there's no signal. A heads up for those of you that don't know are these little red or green columns, right? That's a heads up. That tells me that a signal is likely to appear. I don't even have that. So nice thing about the Trade Scanner Pro is a lot of times it'll keep you out of trouble. It'll help to prevent the problem of the over trade, where you take a bunch of trades for no reason because you think you see something or you get anxious, or it happens to the best of us. I've done it where you're like, oh, I see something, and then it turns out to be noise. And all you do is start yourself with a negative day, and then you got to spend the good opportunities making your money back, right? We've all done that. It sucks. So the Trade Scanner Pro helps to clean that up a bit because it doesn't pop up signals every 2 seconds, right? Now, another thing you may question is, well, if there's nothing happening here, why not check the 15-second time frame? I'm sure there's a signal there. Yeah, there may be. But the 15-second time frame, I made a choice very early on. When I started doing these streams, I said, I'm not going to go as low as a 15-second. I'm only going to take trades on a 30-second or a 1 minute. I mean, maybe in an unusual situation, maybe a 2 minute or something, but basically between 30 seconds and 2 minutes is my range. That's it. There's my heads up, by the way. Okay, now I'm going to prepare to buy 2 contracts. All right, so I have my size set up there. It's based on the candle close. The heads up was popping up there a bit. So a signal may appear, may not. If the candle has to close for that thing to be established. See that? So it vanished because the closing criteria wasn't met. Yeah, that's going to happen. All right, whatever, no problem. Look, it's a 30-second chart. I'm not worried about it. There'll be another signal. Now, I'm sure there's a 15-second. Let's just take a look. I bet you there's a 15-second signal there. See? How do I know that? I got the same crystal ball that Sam has. No, I'm joking. See, I'm not taking this because that's not part of my plan. It looks nice, but I'm not taking that. Okay? If you're more aggressive and you want to do something like that, that's up to you. I'm not doing it because the 15-second is just too erratic. And while it may start out good, see what I mean? Like it may do something like that, whatever. I just don't want that type of erratic. The 30-second is erratic enough. And like I said, if you want to be more aggressive and you want to go for something like that, that's up to you. But I'm really trying to stick to very specific criteria for these trades because what I'm also trying to demonstrate here is not just how to use the Trade Scanner Pro effectively, but I'm trying to demonstrate that I can beat a prop firm evaluation and doing it in a sustainable way. If that's what I'm doing, then I can't be jumping around. Like, oh, we got a 15-second chart here, 30-second chart. How is a beginner supposed to follow that? Like, there needs to be consistency in time frames, in strategy. Like, there has to be something that you can follow with consistency, because that's how you build confidence. If I'm jumping around in one stream, okay, I'm gonna look at the 15-second, and then I make some money there, or maybe not, maybe I lose some money. And then the next stream, I'm on a 3-minute chart. And then the next stream, I'm on a 30-second chart. Like, how are you guys going to know what to do? How can you follow this? Right? So it has to be a sustainable way. Now, and that's hard to do, okay? To do all these things, demonstrate the script, and try to beat an eval and all this other stuff. Now, some of you that have a little more experience with prop firms can easily argue and say, well, you're wasting your time. All you have to do is put on full size, 10 lots in this case, 10 mini lots, make 15 points, and you beat the eval in one trade. That's true, but I may have to be right. I have to be right. If I'm wrong, I wipe out the account in one trade. There's no margin for error at all. If I lose 10 points, and this thing can go 10 points in a blink of an eye, 10 points against me, I've blown the account in literally 2 seconds. Okay? That's not sustainable. So one strategy to consider if you're trying to just get to the payout phase is you buy a lot of these evals. Sometimes they go on sale. You buy like 10 of them, okay, for like $30 or whatever. You buy 10 of them. Yes, you're going to be, you're going to spend $300. And then each one, you're just going to play a coin flip game, right? You're going to go all in on all of them, one at a time. And one of them's got to reach the 15-point profit objective. All you need is 15 points. Now, it's possible you could blow all 10 accounts, but you have 10 chances to make 15 points one time. You're playing a coin flip game, a random game. So you blow 9 of them, one of them gets in, you have your payout account. And then you switch to your sustainable strategy. Now, you may say, yeah, but prop firms, they have something called the consistency rule, where you're not allowed to reach the thing in one trade. That is true, but there are certain offers, like Apex, for example, makes an offer where they'll allow you to beat the eval in one day. They won't penalize you for it, but it's a special offer, right? Because they know what they're doing. They suck you in. They make it easy to beat, right? They know you're going to play that gamble game. And then, of course, when you beat the eval, you have to pay a setup fee. So you have to pay another $140. So they're getting that money. And then if you don't have a sustainable strategy, you're going to blow the account anyway, and you're going to have to start over again without ever getting a payout. Because how are you going to get a payout? Once you're in the payout phase, if you don't have a proven strategy, then you're just wasting your time. So I know it's a big, long speech, but that is the point of why I'm doing this and doing it the way I'm doing it. Yes, it's going to take a while, but it's sustainable. And if I beat the eval doing it this way, then all I have to do is continue to do what I'm doing when I reach the payout phase, right? I pay my setup fee of $140 and I simply continue doing what I'm doing. I don't have to adjust. I don't have to adjust anything. I don't have to change my sizing. Nothing. I just continue to do what I'm doing. Yes, it's boring. Yes, I'm not making $10,000 a minute like some people claim to be making. And by the way you do that, some of these people that they brag about, I made $20,000 today. And how do they do that? You ever wonder? You know how they do it? What they usually do is they have multiple accounts. Because again, Apex allows you to have 20 accounts. Of course, you have to beat all those evals. You have to pay all those setup fees. But you can then get a copy trade set up and copy your main account into the other accounts. So let's just say you have, most prop firms allow you 5 accounts, which again, you have to pay for all that and beat them, right? So if you make $100 and it's reflected across 4 other accounts, then you've made $500. So the advantage to doing something like that is the way it manages your risk. Because Now that's like having 5 micro lots on or 5 mini lots, but not concentrated in one account. So your max loss limit becomes a lot more flexible because it's hard to blow your account on 1 micro lot, right? Or on 1 mini lot. It's hard to blow your account. But if you put on 5 and you're wrong, you blow the account. But if you put on 5 and you spread that across 5 accounts, then you're only losing on 1 across 5 accounts. Does that make sense? Apex explains all. This is no secret, by the way. Apex explains this on their website. When you read through their, Q&A, their FAQ, like why would I buy more than one account? But that's why you would do that. Now the thing is, it sounds compelling, right? It sounds alluring, like, oh yeah, great idea. You have to beat all the accounts. So for them, it's great because now you're gonna have people who are gonna try that. They're gonna put, $300 or $500 worth prop firm evals on their card or whatever, and then they're gonna try to beat. But if you're inexperienced, like a beginner has no business trying that because you're just gonna blow all the accounts and you're gonna make the prop firm rich. That's something that's alluring if you have experience and you have a system that you are confident will beat the eval. So that's a lot easier said than done. Does that make sense? Anyway, is the prop firm stuff interesting to you guys or no? Because that's part of the feature. What's one of the features here of my stream is the prop firm element, which can be very good, like I said, if you have experience and you have a system that you're confident with. If you're still experimenting with systems, don't do it. You're just gonna waste your money. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have questions about that. Now, if I was an affiliate or something, I'd say, oh, okay, try this one, try that one, but I'm not an affiliate. So, like I said, they don't want me. I tried. They don't want me. They don't respond to my emails, or like Apex is not even signing up new affiliates. I thought it had maybe something to do with a lawsuit that they were going through, but it turns out the other prop firms that I tried too, they were like, no, not looking for affiliates. Like, what is this? Prop firms not looking for affiliates? It must be something going on. They must be having a hard time. Yeah, Andrea, I tell you, the great thing, it took me, I researched the whole prop firm space for a year. So this is not something that I just came up with. I've researched them heavily for a year. 1 year. I'd watch videos, I'd go through their websites, I'd read through their rules, I'd court, any kind of lawsuit stuff, public documents, legal documents. I'd look through those too, because you learn a lot about them. Stuff that they don't want you to know, you just look through the legal documents. It's all online. It's all public information. And like how much money they make and how they try to prevent their traders from making money. Very interesting when you see it laid out in a legal document, in a legal complaint. So so I think they're very compelling. And I think the value proposition for a beginner or someone less experienced is you don't have to blow your real money on with the chance of actually making decent money. Like you could learn size with confidence. That's like a key thing, because I think back to when I started, especially with futures. We're talking with futures. I started like around 2005 is when I started actually involved with futures, because before that I was all stocks, NASDAQ stocks. So I started, learning about futures and actually working with them around, I'd say around, well, no, a little earlier than that, probably around 2003. It's been a while, but more serious around 2005. And back in those days, there were no micro lots, and you had to basically work on a per trade account for at least a year to get confident enough to throw around a mini lot. Because if you opened a real account, margin requirements were much lower back then, but even then, you put a couple of $1,000s in an account, you blew that account very quickly, right? So it's like, well, I don't want to blow $2,000 or $3,000, right? that kind of thing. So you worked on a practice account, built up enough confidence, put some money in an account, blow the real account, and then go back to the practice account. And that's the process you'd have to repeat for a few years. That's what it was like. You don't have to do that now. Now you could spend $50, trade size with confidence. I could never even imagine throwing around 10 mini lots back in those days. I couldn't even throw around one, right? Plus, you have to have the margin requirements and all those other things. I couldn't even imagine, like, who trades that kind of size? But with prop firms today, you can do it. You can do it, experiment with it. And if you blow the account, you blow $2,500 or $3,000 or $5,000 in a minute, because that's how fast you can blow the money, you're out $50. That's a huge advantage when it comes to confidence, because it's like, oh, all right, I can handle $50. But I can't handle losing 5,000 losing it in a minute, literally a minute. Like, what that does to your confidence is something I cannot describe. You blow all of your psychological capital, and you're going to be very timid. You're going to quit. You know what I mean? Like, confidence is a very key aspect of this game. So that's for me, that's like the primary thing, man. I'm talking here and this market is just not giving me an opportunity. What is this? And it's moving around too. Look at that. I'm afraid to look at the 15-second. Okay, there was only one signal. Actually, two. Looks like there were two. And everything else is just noise. Look at that. All right, hey, look. If that's the way the market wants to be, if I have to sit here for an hour and not have any signals, that's the market, man. I'm not going to force it. Not going to force it. Right? And you have to be the same way. If the market doesn't want to produce a confirmation, I remember, I think it was Monday, or maybe it might have been the week before. I sat here for 60 minutes with no signal. And then minute 61, signal shows up. Minute 61. And I took the signal. Actually, I took the first signal. I got stopped out. And then the market was nice enough to give me a second signal. Ooh. Sam, can you explain that one right there? Since you're the inside guy, we're going to call you the inside guy. I'm joking. The market was nice enough to give me a second signal right after that stop out, and I managed to make the money back. My point is, I had to wait an hour for that signal to show up. So again, great thing about the Trade Scanner Pro is it keeps you out of trouble. I mean, look at this. So far, if I was just jumping around based on hunches or maybe the RSI or some other nonsense, maybe I would have bought. I mean, of course, after the fact, I can say, oh yeah, I would have bought it right here and I would have sold it up there. Right? I can say that after the fact. What if I bought it over here on this break? Oh, wait, hold on. Got a signal there. Hold on. Now let's see. Let me stop my app and let's see what's going on here. So here's the thing, right? Looks like a signal appeared there. I got no heads up, but notice this. When the signal appears, and this is not something you're going to learn from a book or anywhere. First candle I get after the signal is red. I'm not taking that. Remember, just because the signal appears doesn't mean I have to take it. But if it goes back above the blue line, I'm going to buy it. So you see, like, I'm not in this yet. There's a signal, but I'm not in it. I don't have to take it. I'm going to judge it for a minute or two, right? I have a little, I want to see, whenever there's a signal, I want to see how does the next candle unfold. Do I get green right away? Like, is my next candle should have looked like that, right? Not red. Okay, so something like this, I may be interested in that, but let's see. Maybe I can get a better price. But the fact that we started out red is not what I want to see. That's not bullish momentum. Okay? The Trade Scanner Pro measures momentum. That's what it's looking for. So the candles should coincide with that. I know I'm in the way. My big head. I got to move this. Basically, I got to move this chart over here. Should I? Let's see. Maybe if I put the 30-second over here, but I'm on my buy buttons. Well, let me not do this while there's a signal present. I'll mess around with it when there's no signal. Now, maybe this stops out. Okay, I'm not in it, so I don't care. I want to see something a little more bullish here. Like, I'm glad there's a signal. It took a while for this signal, but the candles stink. I shouldn't see red after red like that. No good. As they say in Spanish, no me gusta. That's in Dominican Spanish. I don't like it. Any Spanish speakers? I have to practice my Spanish. I'm not a native Spanish speaker, but I can say the bad words pretty good. All right, just waiting to see if we get something a little more compelling here. So what do I want to see in this situation, right? I'm waiting, and I may take 3. I think I'm going to go for 3. Oh, you like my Spanish, eh? I guess you're from Austin. I guess you have some Spanish. You're on the border there. No me gusta. But Mexicans don't say it like that, though. Or, it's usually like a Caribbean thing. Okay, I'm like that. I want to see that close. Oh, how much time do we have here? Oh, okay, no problem. See what I mean? Like, just because it's green, like these are 30-second candles. They're going to be very erratic. So you can give them a little room. Like you could be a little loose with them, right? You don't have to be very, very, okay, I'm going for it. All right. So now I put on 3. I like the green closes. Now I got in at a better price than the entry price. All right. Now I don't know if this is going to work. If this goes to the stop, I'm going to have to bang it right out, and it may go straight to the stop. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Now I'm going to explain something here once we get a little more candle information here. There must be some kind of news floating around, because this market's acting strange. Like, there's clearly no trend here. It's not the momentum is not intact. Meaning, like I mean, look at the recent price action. Okay, we'll take that. But now I got a better price than the entry price, which is uncommon. That's not typical. Usually I get a worse price, not a better price. Okay? So this is an unusual situation. My risk is smaller than usual. I'm taking about half the risk, because if you look at where the stop is, right? Look, if my entry price was here, 37. That's the official entry price. 37 points of risk, which is pretty decent. That's decent for a 30-second chart. I took half of that. So my risk is around here. 20 points. That's nothing. 20 points of risk, that's nothing. That's like losing a penny for the NASDAQ. So my risk is very attractive, especially relative to my reward, because remember, I got in at a better price. It's an unusual situation. My reward is 76 points if it gets to the profit objective. What is that? Anyone want to tell me the reward risk ratio of that? That is if it gets there. If it goes to the stop, I blow it out and I lose my 20 points. But 20 points, like that's a loss. Like, I'll take that loss any day. That's like a win. That's how good that loss is. I know people are, how is it a win? You're losing. Yeah, but it's such a small loss that it's a win. Because when I typically win, I typically make a lot more than 20 points. That's why it's a win. I may lose this time. Okay, but if you look at my typical winner versus my typical losing trade, that is why my account is ahead. right? My account is not in the negative. It's ahead. And the reason why it's ahead is because when I win a lot more than I lose in terms of the amount. Okay, this doesn't look good. I may have to bang this. Let's see. What? Gotta let it go. Gotta respect the level. Man, this market sucks. Gotta respect it though. That's a key aspect of this, right? If you don't respect the levels, then you're just wasting your time. Now, another thing that I have to point out too is when you're doing this, especially if it's a real account, you got to make sure you put a hard stop in there. Okay, I put the hard stops in because it's just too cumbersome for me, and I'll take the slippage. And there's going to be some slippage, but what can go wrong? I'm still in. What can go wrong? Please go up. Please just go green for me. Please, I gotta beg. Please stop making me look bad. You know, it doesn't matter. In fact, whether I make if this trade turns out green or red, it doesn't matter. People still don't sign up for the Trade Scanner Pro. You know what'll get people's attention? If I put on the 10 mini lots and I make $5,000 in a minute, and then I put it on I make a thumbnail with it, $5,000 in 1 minute. Oh, I need to know how he does that. Yet it's the same thing. It's just the size. People are so mindless. Anyway, what was I saying? I cut myself off and I forget what I'm saying. Yeah, you got to respect these stops because some news could come out. Like we had these spikes. Like the 10 o'clock spike and then this spike over here. And if I'm on the wrong side of that spike, I'm going to lose a lot more money than the stop suggests. You understand? So you really should use a hard stop. It's just, for me, it's a pain. It's cumbersome. I mean, I have to go to the trade thing over here. I got to put it over here, right? I got to put these in over here, whatever. I highly recommend you use the hard stops and the profit objective too. Okay. Yeah, Samuel. All right. The rented one. That's always the selling point. Doesn't matter if I make or lose money. Look at the car behind me. Look, oh, he just lost $5,000, but he has a Ferrari behind him, so he must be winning somewhere. I'm going to sign up. Right? Like the Ferrari chaser. How about a Honda? You want a Honda? No Hondas. Ferrari. You want a Ferrari? Why do you want a Ferrari? Because it gets girls. That's the only reason why you want a Ferrari? Yeah. Ferrari. You get girls with a Ferrari. You can't get girls with a Honda? No. Girls don't like Hondas. Oh, man. But the Honda can get you from point A to point B just like a Ferrari. No Hondas. I don't want no Honda. I want a Ferrari. All right, I guess I can't show. Excuse me. I guess I can't show a Honda. Honda's not exactly a cheap car. No Hondas. All right. Get like an expensive Honda for I think they're like 40 grand or something. Ferrari. What kind of Ferrari? Like what color Ferrari would you get? Lime green. Because I saw it on TikTok, a lime green Ferrari. That's my my retail trader impression. lime green Ferrari. Oh, I'm gonna get stopped out now. All right, no more fooling around. Here we go again. Look, I'm getting another. Look at this. I haven't stopped out yet. It's giving me another heads up for a long. Look at that. So that means another signal. I may get stopped out and another signal may appear. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Out. Respected it. Out. That sucked. Let's see how much money that cost me. $115. Okay. Like I said, that's a win. Okay, we may get another signal here. Now, the question is, am I open to the other signal? Now, realize that loss was a very unusual situation because I got in at a much better price than the entry price. That's why I was only able, and I had 3 micro lots on. I had 3. So that was worth it. That was worth the risk. Okay. Now, the question is, This market has been very uneventful so far. Okay, it's been really lousy in my opinion. Let's go back to the hourly chart real quick. What's going on? Anything? Anything changing here? Let's see. I mean, not a good looking candle. High looks like. I mean, this thing may be getting bearish. I don't know, but the higher low is still in place. So I'm still going to have to work on the long side. I'm going to have to, if I'm going to do it, I'm still going to have to work on the long side. My trends haven't changed, have they? Let me see. My trend status. Oh, it changed. Look, it changed on my 30-second. Got to pay attention to that because now this thing is not looking for longs anymore. Okay, at this moment, it's not going to generate a long signal, so I have to switch to counter trend. You see that? See that? That's confusing. I have to switch. If I want to get a long signal, I have to switch to counter trend. See, now I'll get a long signal if it reverses because the trend is bearish on the 30-second. This particular problem is very prevalent on very small time frames like 30-second, like 15-second. Look, my 1 minute is still bullish. It hasn't changed yet, right? You must pay attention to that. Otherwise, you're going to wait for a long and you're never going to get one because it's starting to look for shorts now. But your bigger picture analysis carries more weight than the Trade Scanner Pro. That is so important. The Trade Scanner Pro may say short because it's just looking at this quick boost, like this little momentum structure here. That's all it's looking at. The bigger picture hasn't broken any supports yet. So that means buying is still likely to appear. I'll try one more long. I'll try one more. Like we're going to get a signal here, most likely. And look, we're sort of getting near that support line. I'll be open to the long. Now, if the signal appears, I'm going to do the same thing again. If the signal appears, look, my 1 minute just changed. See the 1 minute? Just changed to bearish. See that? So my 1 minute is also no longer looking for longs. It's looking for shorts now. I need to switch to counter trend mode. Right? Oh, and look at this. There was a counter trend short that was in play the whole time. You have to ignore that. That's confusing. So I'm going to turn that off because I don't want people to be confused. You have to ignore that because I'm not looking for shorts. You got to stick with your idea from the bigger picture. That's what carries all the weight. So I'm going to monitor my 30-second for the long reversal. Now, if this thing just keeps getting ugly, right, and we do break a support, maybe we eventually break a support here, like this blue line, we break below that, then there comes a point where I'm going to have to stop with the longs and reevaluate. That's a big part of this, right? Being able to reevaluate. Okay, signal is going to come here very soon. We have a bunch of heads up there. Now, when the signal appears, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to see how the next candle, the first candle, after the signal appears, I want to see what does the first candle do. Does it turn red right away? If it turns red, I step aside. Does it turn green right away? Then maybe I'll take it. But I want the green, like it should be green. We're looking for momentum here. So if I'm going long, I should see something that agrees with that. Right? Not something that does not agree with it. Now, of course, it can change. That's why we have a stop. So any questions about anything, guys? Like you saw, look at that candle. You saw how this thing's playing out. We're probably gonna get a signal. I'm surprised this one failed to give us a signal. The candle may be too big. Sometimes if the candle gets too far, it cancels out the signal too. That happens too. Because it has to meet specific criteria. And sometimes it goes beyond the criteria. There's nothing you can do about that. You just have to deal with it. You know? The mistake you want to avoid, look, we got the 1 minute. We got the 1 minute. All right, I'm open to taking that. And the trend turned back to bullish too. I'm open to that. All right, I'm taking it. 1 minute. So this is based on the 1 minute. This is why we monitor 2 time frames. The 30-second failed to give it to me. 1 minute gave it to me. And I got a bad price, right? The blue line, like it started, and I I failed to get like the best price there. But sometimes, like if the market's moving, sometimes you don't have much of a choice. I just want to see green right away, right? Like when I get the signal, I want to see exactly this, green, even if the candle's still open. What I don't want to see is red. Like if I see the signal, okay, signal appears and the next candle is this, like why do I want to buy that? Does that make sense? So that's something you're not going to know. That's not something you're going to figure out from intuitively. This is why I do these streams. This is why I demonstrate this. Okay, so far so good. Can we keep this going? Because I'm tired of looking bad here. Making me look bad all the time, man. Hey, people, I thought this guy was a CMT. I thought he knew what he was doing. So, tell you, market just stinks. All right, so I want to see a little bullish action here, a little continuation. You can do it. Come on, a little. So I can do my Jerry Seinfeld impression. No pin bar. Please don't give me a pin bar. Because, all right. So what I'm going to have to do in this situation, I'm not letting this thing go against me. Okay. So if this thing's going to give me a hard time, excuse me, if this thing can't follow through, if this thing can't follow through, I'm gonna blow it out. Okay. I'm not going to wait for the stop. I'm not going to wait for the profit objective. I'm just not going to get this thing because I was minus, what was it, 100, whatever, what was that, $115? I forget the number. And I don't want this to turn into minus 300. And on this time frame, that can happen. So I'm in account conservation mode. So my risk on this is 41 points. I'm not planning to lose 41 points. Okay. Now, again, I'm acting in a unusual way here because I'm more interested in conserving the capital in my account because I'm trying to reach that goal. I don't want to blow another $300 and have to work to make that back again, right? Because I only trade this account 3 days a week. So I'm working with a lot of limitations. So I'm going to have some exceptions here, like this. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay, but so far the market wants to cooperate. Hey, I'm all with you. I'm all happy. I'll work with you, no problem. In fact, I'm going to blow out a 1 right now. Because when things are looking good, that's what you got to do. Well, see, I spoke too soon. See what I mean? They're like, oh, he's going to blow one out, sell it off. I'm telling you, the market can hear me. There we go. I believe I'm selling one. Okay, bye. Sold 1. Now I got 2 left. All right, I got 2. Look, I'm green on the day. Okay, great, cool. All right, I'm not green by much, but I'm green. Now let's see if we can be a little. See if we can get fancy with this now. Now notice what's happening here on my 30-second chart. I'm getting heads up for a short. You see that? Because I'm in counter trend mode. Remember, I switched it. Don't be confused. This is where it can be confusing. Turn counter trend mode off. Oh, look, there was a trade there too, and it's at the profit objective. And that was in, I guess, trend mode. It must have been, it flipped back in the trend mode. It's confusing. Please don't let that confuse you. Come on, man. Come on, man. Why do you got to do that? Well, I'm working with the 1 minute now. I took the trade on the 1 minute, so I'm working with the 1 minute. I can use a 30-second maybe for if you want to be a little more conservative with it. And I have a trailing stop right here. See that? But my decisions right now are based on the 1 minute. Do you see how I managed that? Is anyone confused? Please let me know, because I believe that a beginner would have a very hard time navigating what I just navigated using this tool. A very hard time because of all the confusing factors. I was able to organize it very quickly, right? And manage it. You see that? Like, and I know what information to pay attention to and what not to pay attention to. And I'm very decisive about it. Do you see that? Like, are you learning from that? Because again, if a beginner is left on his own or left on her own, I don't know how you're going to figure that out. I can't even write an instruction manual for that. Like, that's just something you can only learn from watching the situation unfold by the market. Remember, the market is uncertain. The market is random. We can't know the future unless you're Sam, right? Because Sam has a crystal ball and he knows the future. But otherwise, none of us know the future, right, Sam? Sam, maybe you could let us borrow the crystal ball. Can you give me some crystal ball help here or something? Because I could probably use a little help. You know what? Maybe you can help me get more followers with it or something. Because that's what I need. Maybe you can affect the YouTube algorithm with your connections. Because YouTube doesn't like me. It just doesn't. And I don't think Twitter likes me much either. Let me see. Let me tell you right now. Twitter likes me more than YouTube. Yeah, definitely. YouTube does not promote my videos at all. Zero. I'm on no one's suggested feeds, man. Based on those numbers, I know I need to do uploads. I know I need like a producer, man. I need like a consultant. I need things. Showing streams where I make money doesn't get me anywhere because I don't have the Ferrari behind me. All right, man, I'm just ranting like nuts today. So I'm working with my 1 minute. Now look, we're at the 30-second profit objective pretty much. I sold one contract and I'm trying to let this winner play out a bit here, right? Because you have to try to let your winners play out. This was not an easy trade. So guys, any questions? Like, let me know. We're at profit objective here. I'm tempted to blow out another contract, but let's see. Why like this is concerning because momentum is supposed to follow through, right? Momentum is supposed to look like that. That's momentum. What's happening right now is not momentum, right? It's hesitation. Like that's not momentum. So what's up with this market, man? What are you waiting for? I know I'm a little impatient, but come on, man. It's momentum. This isn't momentum. So I'm preparing to press that sell button. I don't like it. Now, again, you guys seen me numerous times react to candlesticks, and my reaction is often wrong. Okay? They usually shake me out, and then what does it do? It goes straight to new highs. How many times have you guys seen that? I just had that on Friday, right? I had this trade. It worked out pretty well. And then it got a little funky on me. I said, F you, I got out. And then it went nicely in my favor. Now, the funny part about that trade, for those that saw that stream, and you could watch it, it's on my channel, where I exited on the, because I was not willing to wait for the trailing stop. I wanted to keep my money. We watched the trade until it got stopped out by the trailing stop, and it was around the same price that I exited. So all that extra money would have been possible only if I randomly exited at the high. Remember, the trailing stop is not going to get you out at the absolute top of the trade or bottom of the trade, right? It just gives you the opportunity to hold on longer. If you want to capture a really outsized move and you want to capture like the top, it's going to be a random game. There's no way around that. So like, for example, you can have one guy a long time ago, he was clever. With the Trade Scanner Pro, he altered the profit objectives. And what he was doing was he put 3 instances of the Trade Scanner Pro on his chart. And he had one profit objective at 1.5 to 1, one at 2 to 1, one at 3 to 1. So he had 3 profit objectives on his chart. And like if it got 2 to 1, for example, he'd sell some more. If it got 3 to 1, he'd sell some more. That was very clever. That he came up with that one on his own. You'd have to run multiple instances though. You could do that if you're a little more advanced with trading view tools. But anyway, my point is to capture like the top of a move. You're just basically going to have to say, okay, you know what? I'm up 2-1 or I'm up 3-1. I'll take it. I'm happy with that. And maybe the market randomly pulls back there. Maybe the market just keeps going further. You're never going to get the top unless it's random. Does that make sense? Because people all the time, how do I get the top of the trade? How do I maximize the trade? Do I use extensions or something? How do I do that? The RSI? It's random. You could use a support or resistance level. Like if we have a reference point for a resistance level, like the overnight high, for example. We're not going to go up there. We're not likely to go up there, not now. But this would be a great reference point for an exit. Levels, like predetermined levels like that, that's a level based on a previous price reaction. So something like that would make sense. The trailing stop basically just keeps you in longer, right? And gives you the opportunity to capture more than you normally would. This price action stinks, man. Like, come on. Like it tries to, the fact that it's trying to work its way higher, right? But then it just doesn't go. Then it tries to sell off and it doesn't go. That tells me that there's no one selling. Because when you sell, this is what happens right here when you sell. It moves quickly because they all get out in a hurry, right? But when it grinds higher, people don't buy in a hurry usually, unless there's news behind it. People typically don't buy in a hurry. So when you have like a lack of, it's not pulling back, but it's hardly going up, you get the slow grind, that's usually buying. Okay, usually. But again, I'm losing my patience here. And remember, my goal is account preservation. That's my goal. I want to come out green, and I don't care if it's $50. I don't care if it's $5. I just want to come out green because green moves the account forward. I don't want to come out red because red means I got to spend another whole day making that money back plus going green. There are going to be red days. There's no way around that. But if I can avoid a red day, that is my objective here. Would I trade a real account like that? No. In reality, because this is a prop firm account, said I'm working within special parameters. In a real account, I would just let the trailing stop determine the exit. Right? Either we go to the profit objective or we go to the trailing stop. It's going to be one or the other. That's the actual purpose of the Trade Scanner Pro, simplifying the decision-making process. I have to be a little more complex because, like I said, I'm trying to beat an eval here. So I need to be more conservative. But if I'm going to be purely objective and let the Trade Scanner Pro shape my decisions, then my decisions should be trailing stop or profit objective. Okay, not this in-between stuff that I'm doing right now. But this price action is very concerning. Look what's happening here. Like we're consolidating like right here. Like what is this? Why is it consolidating right there? Like what's up with that? Like come on, man. What's the problem here? What are we waiting for? Is Powell talking somewhere or something? Like is there an FOMC meeting that I don't know about? Like what's going on? This is how I talk to my monitor when I'm not streaming. Just with a lot of bad language in between. I keep it clean for the stream. But when I'm not streaming, you would think I would be driving a truck. No offense to truck drivers. I like truck drivers. Just you know what I'm saying. All right. And all this waiting around is tiring me out, man. I got things to do. I got another stream at 3:00, man. All right, I think I'm gonna bang out at 1. Let's see. I just this should be doing better. This is not momentum, people. This is not momentum. This is momentum, right? Big candles. That's momentum. This is grind. And it's trying to figure out what it wants to do. And it's interesting on the 30-second. Notice it grinds around the profit objective. That's interesting, right? I think that's random. But man, it's smacking me in the face. Hope you got out of some at the profit objective. Yes, I got out of some. I got out of one. Trying to give it a chance here. Trying to be objective. It's not performing. My trailing stop is almost at break even. But remember, I got worse than the entry price. So if it goes to the trailing stop, I'm going to lose a little bit of money. All right, I like to see green. I like to see some green. Now, can we go? Can we go? There we go. That's more like it. Just have to, yeah, high or low. Look at that. All right. Okay. High or low leads to a higher high. Well, not when I'm in it, though. So, like, hold on. Is this guy in it? Yeah. Okay. No new high. Let's failed high, pin bar, something bearish. Can't make this guy look good. Got to make sure no one buys that trade scanner because we don't want people using that thing. Because it doesn't matter if he shows profitable trades or not. No one subscribes anyway. All right. I'm happy. Profit objective on the 1 minute. I'm happy. I'm selling one. Nice. I sold 2 contracts. I got 1 left. Now let's see if we can get the runner. Run, market, run. Now I'm up 100. So I went from minus 115. I'm up 130. Not bad. You know I'm in a good mood when I do my Jerry Seinfeld impressions. But I shouldn't have feelings about this, right? A real trader should not have feelings. You just be like, it's another win. Who cares? I just got stopped out. Who cares? I'm tired. I'm bored. I'm going to go back to sleep now. Right? That's a real trader. But I don't think we can truly not have feelings. How could you not like making a little money? Like, that's a natural thing. It's like you go to a casino and you win. That's like the best feeling, right? And when you lose, you have to pretend you're happy. Oh yeah, it was a good experience. I sat at the poker table. I got to look cool, wear my sunglasses and everything, flirted with the cocktail waitress and blew $500. But it was fun. Yeah. I got a nice hotel room, sort of, which I spent no time in. And it was fun. Went to the buffet with other people that blew their money as well. Making fun losing money. But when you win, I'm going shopping at the Connected Shopping Mall. I'm buying something. All right. Anyway, enough fooling around here. I think I put everyone. I don't see anything going on in the chat. I think everyone's like, I've had it. I can't listen to this guy anymore. I know I've been streaming more time than I normally have, but that's the market's fault, man. I gotta go, Mr. Market. I've been streaming way too long. Anyone watching me? Not really. Look at this is a nice trade too. Look at that. Going beyond the profit objective here a bit. All right, I may just get out because I gotta go, man. So you guys, anyone still there? By the way, if you're watching me on Twitter, please retweet the stream. Please help me out. Excuse me. Do me that favor. It's a button click away, man. Please retweet the stream. I don't care if you have 2 followers. Maybe one of them will follow me. All right, because I really want this to be worth my time, and I want people to get value from this because there's a lot of value here. There's free training. I should be charging lots of money for this training. Yeah. Sam, you guys still there? All right. Hey, Sean. All right, got some people watching. All right, I'm gonna have to. We're at the profit objective. How much am I up? $135. All right. I have one contract, so I mean, where am I going to go with that? Maybe this thing continues higher and higher, but I'm just going to take the money. I'm just going to take the money. All right, let's just one more candle. Remember now, guys, I used the 1 minute to manage this trade. You guys saw that whole thing, right? How much time do you have in this minute? Okay, out. So I'm out at 2105 and a quarter at the 1 minute profit objective. My trailing stop has advanced nicely on the 1 minute. Now, I keep referring to the 1 minute because that's the signal that I took. Clearly, there was a signal here on the 32nd, but it wasn't there at the time. I think because I was in counter trade, so I missed this, right? I missed this. Maybe I would have gotten a better price. So it popped up on the 1 minute, and I took it. All right, I know it's going to keep going now. I know, whatever. This happens every time. But the main thing is, look at my P&L. I was minus 115 on that first trade. Remember that? And that was an unusual situation. I got away with a 20-point stop. That's unusual. The typical stop is at least 30 to 40 points, even on a 30-second chart. I had an opportunity with a 20-point stop because I got in at a better price than the entry price, which again is not normal. I usually get in at a worse price. In this situation here, I got in at a worse price because I waited for this candle to mature a bit, and I got in at a much higher price. In fact, I can tell you the price. We could take a look here. That entry, I bought a market order. Let me see if I could see it here. I'm just looking for the actual price. Can I see the price? I can't see the price. On the order, I should be able to see it here. Okay, so filled. Okay, so my entry price on that by 3 at 2055, 20055. Okay, that's where I bought it. So that's around here. 20055 is right there. The trade was called here at 20. So I got 10 points worse than the actual. I should have made 10 more points on that trade. See that? I bought in 10 points worse. The signal was 10 points lower on the 1 minute. And I still managed to get away green, and I got the green account. Now look, this thing wants to do the grind, and the trailing stop theoretically should keep me in this trade. But like I said, I can't keep streaming all day. It's a green trade. I'm happy with it. But you saw how I managed that. You saw how my original trade was a losing trade. And I had a second opportunity here, and it managed to work out, all aligned with my original long idea. Remember, the market was pulling back there a bit, and I said it's not a short yet. We haven't broken any supports, not any major supports on that hourly chart. Remember all that? So go back and review that. You're the guy I should be learning from? Yeah, I'm the guy. So that was a very interesting session because of all the variation that we got from the market there. Again, you're not going to learn the Trade Scanner Pro intuitively. People think they're just going to pop up signals and, it's that easy. No, you saw all the thought process that I had to go into this. The Trade Scanner Pro simplifies the decision-making after you're in the trade. But arriving at the trade idea is the harder part, and making some adjustments along the way. You saw that, right? Well, yes. So if you watched the beginning of the stream, Sean, welcome. You must be a new guy. Yes, that's what I'm doing here. I'm taking trades on 30-second or 1 minute charts, NASDAQ futures only, because I'm working on a Apex evaluation. The goal here is to beat the evaluation. Okay, so I still have to make about $2,000 more. But I do this, I stream. I don't take trades this account outside the stream. So every single trade that I take is documented. You could go back on my YouTube channel and watch every stream. Okay, I do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you see every single stream that I do. You see every trade that I take. I have some winning trades. I have some losing trades. But you can see my P&L is ahead. Okay, so you can see how I arrived at that P&L. There's nothing fake going on here. And I have witnesses that attest for that. And this is all in real time, obviously. So you can check that out. And we're looking to see if I can beat the eval, okay, in a sustainable way. And it's going to take some time. But we're going through this process together. It's a journey, and it's an immense learning experience for using the Trade Scanner Pro and the thought process that's required to come up with the idea. Because like I said before, rewatch the stream, Sean, because I cover all this, but the idea is to first come up with the idea. You have to know going into it what time frame you're going to trade. You have to know if you're looking for a long or a short. You must know those things first. Then the Trade Scanner Pro confirms your idea. I demonstrate this on every single stream. I don't just pop up and then, oh, everyone, I'm just long. Hey, everyone, I'm just long. We look at the bigger picture. We come up with the levels. We decide if it's bullish or bearish. And then I decide, okay, I'm looking for longs or I'm looking for shorts. It's always on the same time frames. I don't go to a 5-minute. I don't go to a 30-minute. You can. But for the purposes of this stream, I keep everything extremely consistent because I want a beginner to go back and be able to watch these things and grasp what's going on, and everything is the same. So there's not 10 million moving parts. Beating the market is hard enough to begin with, okay? And I got to try to make it look, I got to be like that, professional quarterback making the game look easy. You ever see these guys like Mahomes, you watch them play and you're like, man, they make it look so easy. You know how hard it is to be a professional quarterback, but they make it look very easy. Oh, you just have to throw the ball. The guy catches it. He scores. That was pretty easy, right? It's not. So anyway, it's hard to appreciate when you're watching it like that. Anyway, all right, I got to stop talking. I talk too much, but I get excited when I have a nice trade. Now I'll be back at 3 p.m. again, 3 p.m. Eastern time for my analysis stream. And then I'll cry about that one too when I see that no one's watching that one either. That's the one I've been doing for 3 years, and I still only have 5 people watching. I appreciate the 5 people very much, but it certainly makes me question myself a lot when I see those numbers. Man, why do I do this? And I have to go in a corner and I have to cry. All right. That's informative. Okay. Now that's informative, you say. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I hope you get something out of it. Again, check out the stream more often. I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you chimed in and introduced yourself. It's nice to see you. All right. I've been streaming for 90 minutes now. I normally don't stream that long. I usually try to keep it at an hour, but the market kept me in, man. Friggin' market. What am I going to do? All right. So anyway, thank you. I'll see you guys at 3 p.m. Again, if you want to join me again. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for watching. Oh, wait, hold on. Do I see? Oh, great. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just going to wrap up. The guys subscribed. Nice. I appreciate that. And hey, check out the Trade Scanner Pro if you have a chance. You have a 14-day free trial. And if you don't like it, cancel it. Just make sure you cancel it before the 14 days. Otherwise, you get billed and then, no refunds. Okay, just got to make that clear because people just don't get it these days. Anyway, okay, you guys, that's it for real now. Now I'm going to stop talking. This trade, by the way, is still open for those on the Trade Scanner Pro. I mean, I'm out, but you guys can still watch this thing on the Trade Scanner Pro if you have it. The trailing stop was never touched. Okay, you guys, I'll see you at 3 o'clock. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you're in the world. Thank you for watching.